Finalwhistle.ie. Plenty of drama around the League of Ireland so far as we head into round 3 of the fixtures tonight. Plenty of games to talk about, plenty of interesting moments to come on the show for sure. The first game that we go to features Dundalk and Finn Harps. Dundalk, of course, picking up 2 draws in their first 2 games, while Finn Harps, of course, got a draw last Friday night. They will be looking for their first win of the season, if possible, away at Oriel Park. Watching that for us was our reporter, Kieran Callan. Kieran, what was the result in the end at Oriel?
It finished out 3-0 to Dundalk here in Oriel Park. Stephen Bradley is about to become a massive, massive hero in Oriel Park. 2 goals from him tonight, and also a debut goal from Sam Bone, who's gotten his first goal in Dundalk colours. Ran out worthy 3-0 winners here in Oriel Park. Despite the fact that they were under massive, massive pressure in the early stages of this game, they really, really turned it around. Filip Mihalovic had a glorious opportunity early in the match in order to put Finn Harps in the lead. However, that was cleared off the line by the onrushing Lewis Macari. After that, Dundalk just grew in ascendancy as the game wore on. And Stephen Bradley, like a carbon copy of the first goal that he scored here 2 weeks ago, cut in from the right-hand side, moved onto his left foot and absolutely fired a low rifling shot past Mark McGinley in the Finn Harps goal. The second goal came 44 seconds into the second half. Sam Bone latching onto a loose ball on the edge of the area, and he hit an absolutely thunderous strike to set the goal, to score his first goal for the Dundalk FC to make it 2-0. Stephen Bradley got his second of the night and also his 4th goal in 3 games here, when he absolutely hit a sublime shot. It was an absolute breakaway from a counter-attack. As Finn Harps were appealing for a penalty, Nathan Shepherd set the ball free to Patrick Hoban. Hoban took the initial shot, which was blocked. It fell to Stephen Bradley on the edge of the area, and with one touch he took it under control, and with the other he hit an unbelievable volley into the top right-hand corner. Worthy winners for the Dundalk, their first 3 points for this season for Stephen O'Donnell, and all eyes will be on their trip to Sligo now on Saturday evening.
Perfect, Kieran. Thank you for that report. I don't think many Shamrock Rovers fans would have been happy to hear Stephen Bradley's name mentioned in such a shining light at Oriel Park, to be honest.
To be quite honest with you, I don't think Dundalk fans were too happy with singing Stephen Bradley's name at the beginning of this season, but they're getting used to it very, very quickly, let me tell you.
It'll be interesting when they go to Tala, where Stephen Bradley's on one side of the pitch and Stephen Bradley's on the other side in the touchline as well. I don't know
they could be both singing about their respective Stephen Bradleys, but we'll see which one comes out on top.
Thank you, Kieran, for that report.
We'll
move shortly on now. We'll move down to the capital, where Bohemians were in action tonight against St. Patrick's Athletic at Dalymount Park. Of course, Bohemians had to play their game on Friday night away from home. First time out at Dalymount Park, watching the game for us was Sean Crosby. Sean, what was the result in the end for the game?
Full time here at Dalymount is Bohemians 1, St. Pat's 0. It was quite a tight opening 45 minutes, end to end, certainly at the start. St. Pat's thought they'd gotten off to probably the most dream start you could imagine after 2 minutes, when Tunde Owolabi from the back of net, but his goal was ruled for offside. Owolabi forced James Talbot into a good save a few minutes later, but that was about all that Pats could muster. After that, it was all Bohemians. The home field advantage really being felt here at Dalymount. Joseph Anang in the St. Pat's goal was kept fairly busy, saving the Tyreek Wilson free kick, and then also doing Stephen Mallon from point blank range. Incredible save, what should have been a goal, and was probably the best chance of the first half. Scoreless at the half, and then just 10 minutes after the restart, a goal kick from James Talbot is completely misjudged by Pat's right back, Jack Scott, and it's Stephen Mallon, after missing that gift of a chance in the first half. He made sure to right his wrongs and put the ball into the back of the net to give Bows the 1-0 lead. After that, to be honest, there wasn't much created after that. The game kind of died out. Bohemians happy to sit back and just frustrate Pats, who struggled really to create much tonight.
Perfect, Sean. Thank you for that report. Of course, the first win for Bows in the division this season. That'll be a great boost to their hopes going forward for the rest of the season. Now, another game that was going to catch the eye tonight was, of course, the game at the Brandywell, where Derry City were in action against Sligo. Derry, of course, beating Shamrock Rovers on Friday night to put them top of the table. They were looking to rebuild on that performance at home again tonight, taking on a Sligo team that have been here and there so far at the start of the season. Watching that for us was Alana Canan. Alana, what was the game like as a whole?
Yeah, I think, Diarmuid, it was really much for muchness in this Northwest Derby. It finished in a stalemate between Derry and Sligo, of course, as you said, at the Brandywell. I think it's important to remember as well that Sligo only managed to get a point from Derry last season altogether. So I haven't met the Candy Stripes 4 times, so I think it was always going to be one Liam Buckley had tagged as a tough affair, and to be away as well. But Derry dominated the first half and forced Ed McGinty into plenty of saves, but Jamie McGonigal and David Cawley both hit the crossbar, although the score remained 0-0 still at the break. Then I suppose the less than expansive football rolled over into the second half with neither side able to break through. And Sligo had 2 injury-inflicted substitutions, with Robbie McCourt and Greg Bulger both having to come off. So that'll be worrisome times for them there. And then while Derry rolled in and out the substitutions in an effort to shake things up, it just never really came off for them. Although like McGonigal, Patching, Kavanagh, Owen Toll, even the centre back had loads of chances, but it just never came off for them in the final third for either side. And 0-0 come full time as well.
Perfect, Lana. And do you reckon that maybe the performance was a bit slack tonight just due to the fact that they were out against Shamrock Rovers and they left it so late on Friday night that they might have just have a bit less in the tank than what they would be expecting?
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, Jeremy. But at the same time, I guess like it was the same for most sides tonight. Like everyone was nearly playing and then had to come into this match with very little turnover time. So I'm sure Derry would have been disappointed having bet Shamrock Rovers. You would have thought they would have tried to bring that momentum into this game, but it just never really came off for them. I think Sligo will have been happy with the point given those 2 substitutions. As I said, they're big players for Sligo, and I think Keena was brilliant for Sligo, although he didn't really get the chances granted to him by his team. But had he, I think he looked dangerous upon times, and I think he'll be good for them going forward. Especially, I suppose, like they've Dundalk next time out, and Derry of Shells, so they'll both be looking to make a bigger impact tonight, or there than tonight, where they were fairly uneventful for both sides.
And you mentioned there, of course, that Sligo are happy to get the point. They picked up a point the previous week as well. They remain, I suppose, unbeaten, you could say, in the league. They haven't coughed up anything yet. Do they look like they could turn the tide on Friday night and try and pick up the 3 points? Or are they just looking that, they're just looking for whatever they can get out of a game pretty much?
Yeah, I think definitely they will be looking for points against Dundalk because, as you said, they're unbeaten, but they haven't won. So that's a bit of an anomaly, I guess, in that regard. I think Liam Buckley has made his few signings and he's looking for them to make an impact too. I think Cawley, as the captain tonight, was brilliant. He showed a lot of leadership and he really tried to push the side forward, although much of the play did take place in the middle half of the pitch. So I think as well, it has to be credited, had it not been for McGinty a lot of the time in the first half, Sligo would have went down. So I think he was a saviour for them tonight and a real bright spark in what was, as I said, kind of an uneventful game.
Perfect, Alana. Thank you for that report, as always. We will now head to the UCD Bowl, where 2 newly promoted teams faced each other for the first time this season in UCD and Shelbourne. Both teams were looking for something to come out of this game. Of course, Shelbourne did pick up a massive win last week and last Friday night, of course. As far as I know, a faulty sprinkler caused a little bit of hassle at the UCD Bowl, but watching that for us was Sean Comer. Sean, can you tell us about the game?
Yeah, obviously full-time 0-0 between 2 newly promoted sides, as you said. Second 0-0 in a row for UCD, which might be a bit frustrating for them. But it was a good game, I thought. In the opening few minutes, Shelbourne looked kind of dangerous. Jack Moylan in particular was bursting forward a lot with the ball. He had some good chances. Connor Kane was looking good down the left-hand side, crossing in a lot for them, and John Ross Wilson had a good chance as well in the opening 10 after they pressed high up on UCD trying to play out from the back. He caught on to his left, but after that, UCD started to come into the game and a lot of the usual suspects started looking dangerous for them. Liam Kerrigan looked lively. Colin Whelan had a nice bit of play where he got the ball in the box and turned and tried to cross it to Dingham, but his shot was blocked, went behind for a corner. And then up until about the 40-minute mark, the game just kind of went a bit flat from there. Both sides were frustrated. It was a bit of a physical affair too. There was a few bookings dished out early in the second half after an O'Driscoll challenge on Dingham, resulted in a bit of a melee breaking out, but the ref just sent a few bookings to either side, and that was it. Nothing hectic after that. And the second half didn't live up to kind of the promise that the opening minutes of the first half showed. Both sides were playing good football. Both sides were physical, but at the end of the day, there just wasn't enough to break through. I think the 0-0 was a very fair result. What was awkward about this game was there was about 10 minutes injury time due to numerous delays. So a faulty sprinkler went off in about the 74th minute, and they didn't manage to turn it off. The groundsman had to eventually use a wheelbarrow to stop the sprinkler going off, but then a second sprinkler went off, and then that caused the game to go back further a few minutes. And then just as the fourth official announced that 8 minutes were added on for injury time, there was a clash of heads on the pitch, which delayed it by a further 2 minutes. And then Luke Byrne got also injured in injury time to delay the game for another minute. But eventually, just as we hit 100 minutes, the ref blew full time on this 0-0.
You can't beat the ingenuity of the groundsman in the League of Ireland, definitely for that anyway. No problem at all, Sean. Thank you very much for that report. On our final report of the night, we of course go to Tala, where the champions were in action again, taking on Drogheda United. Watching the game for us was Luke Delaney at Tala Stadium. Luke, it looks like Shamrock Rovers have kind of gotten over their blip on Friday night.
Absolutely, and it was really an assured performance for probably the best part of an hour. That first half from Shamrock Rovers, it was the closest thing I've maybe seen to complete domination in the league since I've started covering it. Jack Byrne was just in a league of his own. He looked like kind of he was playing against, if you were playing against under 12, he was just oozing class across the pitch. And obviously that second goal he scored was absolutely magnificent. But all round, I think Shamrock Rovers back to winning ways, and it'll be hard to stop them this year, Diarmuid.
Perfect, Luke. And would you say that, like, Stephen Bradley learned a lot from the Derry game the last night to lose on such bizarre circumstances as, conceding that goal, that, an experienced player like Lopez plays a ball back and, you concede from it? Do you think he's kind of drilled it into them this week that, we need better if we want to retain the title again?
100%, and it looked like they were a team that had something to prove tonight. That first goal, obviously, Jack Byrne with an inch-perfect pass into the path of Sean Gannon, and he rivaled it home, no mistake. And then, like I said, Byrne with that screamer from 25 yards. And really, it could have been 3, 4, maybe even 5 by half-time. Pico Lopez himself, and like you mentioned there, had a couple of mistakes the other night, but he could have had a few goals himself from corners in the first half. And then that second half, they took Jack Byrne off just after the 50-minute mark and brought on Graham Burke. And maybe for 10 minutes, they lacked some sort of creativity. Obviously, bringing Burke on, he's a different player to Jack Byrne. But I think when they started playing to Burke's strengths, they found him with an over-the-top ball with about 10 minutes to go. And Graham Burke's pace, you're not stopping him. And he had missed a chance a couple of moments earlier. And a shout out to Colin McCabe for Drogheda, because without him, it could have been 7 or 8. And that's no over-exaggeration. He was magnificent in the net for Drogheda. But Graham Burke was magnificent there when he came on, and a fantastic finish to round off a good win. And like you said, they're back to winning ways, and it's a Rovers team that have become really accustomed to just winning every game they play. And it was a shock to the system, that loss against Derry, but I think they are back, and it probably did them the world of good.
You mentioned, of course, Jack Byrne. As far as I know, that's his first goal since he's returned back to Shamrock Rovers this season. He has looked lively. He's definitely someone to keep an eye on, especially if Rovers have that talent there. You've the likes of Richie Towell, Graham Burke can come off the bench as well. Rory Gaffney's there as well. I don't think they're missing the firepower. It's just trying to get that blend of everyone working together, is it?
Absolutely. And if you look at the bench that they had there today, they'd all almost walk into most other squads. You had Adomo Maku came off the bench, very nearly scored at the very end. And Richie Towell, Rory Gaffney, like you were saying, they're a team that no matter if they have a couple of injuries, like, they're going to survive because they have that strength and depth. And I think I couldn't get over Jack Byrne that first half, because it kind of looked like he was only in second gear as well. And he linked up very good. Dano Mandroyu maybe didn't have his best day at the office today, but obviously after seeing him in the last couple of years in the league, he's a player who can turn it on when you need him. So it's definitely great problem for Stephen Bradley to have with all these options in the selection. But it's a great night for the Tala faithful here anyway.
Perfect, Luke. Thank you for that report at Tala Stadium. And that is us wrapping up for the night. Until we come back on Friday, you'll see in the bottom of your screen the fixtures for Friday. Drogheda United face UCD, Shelbourne host Derry City, St. Pat's host Shamrock Rovers, as we just mentioned there, and Finn Harps play Bohemians. And on Saturday, of course, we have Sligo Rovers taking on Dundalk. That's all in the Premier Division. And in the First Division on Friday night, you will have Cove Ramblers hosting Treaty United in a Munster derby there at Coleman Park. Galway United take on Waterford. A very interesting tie there, depending on what way you look at it. The two title contenders definitely so far this season. Wexford take on Athlone, and on Saturday, Longford host Cork City. So as I said, you'll be able to view everything again on Friday night, where we will be doing another episode of Around the Grounds. So please stay tuned until then, and we will see you then. For us, goodbye.